Scoom. All right.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Big Scoom,
Hey, everybody. It's Tyler John the Don.
and this is
Waiting versus deciding.
I mean, they say this in sales too, but what they say in sales is saying no or like saying you want to think about it means you've already thought about it, right? Or as in right? Like like when you get what I mean, right? You already probably get what I mean. Like when you say, "Oh, like I got to think about it." Like you've
You've
already
already made your decision to continue to think about it.
so in some sense, yeah. So it's like the same with this. It's like, if you've said that you're waiting, you've
Yeah.
decided that you're waiting.
Then continue to just wait, right? Yeah. I
what
agree with
prompt?
that.
What
So,
prompted you to what had that going in your mind? It's like a statement like that.
so the there are two. Well, there are more than two people in the world, of course. But in this thought, you do one of two things. You either wait or you make a decision, right? And waiting, I guess, like you said, I would agree, is you've made your decision to continue to wait, which is procrastination, waiting, back burner things like whatever. Or you make a decision and you make that choice and you continue to go with it. You either make your choice, you go and agree with whatever, or you shut it down, and then that's also your choice as well. But either way, they're both just properties of free will, and in my opinion, it's best to make a decision, right? Make a decision. It's either yes or no. You either confirm or deny. You either continue to entertain the thought or you shut it down completely. Other than that, yeah, the rest is all just procrastination, right? Continuing to wait, but for what? Obviously, it's
I
not
mean,
advantageous.
it's interesting because I feel like this is a very intimate kind of topic for you because what like a lot of people say, oh, like wisdom is like waiting or knowing when to wait and stuff like that. Like you've heard that, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I've heard things equivalent to that. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like I don't really get it so much. And like maturity is like knowing when to when to pull back or when to wait or when to hold them and when to fold them, right? Or something like that.
Yep. Yep. The proper way to react or to not react at all.
Things like that. So
Mm.
like we probably both now could say, oh yeah, making a choice is probably better, but maybe in 20 years we'll say, hey, you know what, it's better to wait. Like, we got our little old man mustaches or something.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I think it's possible. I think these are two very general statements, two very generic things that I just paired together. I don't think that there is ever, that's even debatable. I was going to say, I don't think there's ever a situation where one would beat the other, right? Like
Yeah.
both are super subjective. But then again, that depends on circumstances, situation, um, even time frame of making these decisions, right? So all of this matters as well. And I think, yeah, oh, sorry, I was thinking, but I think it's
You
just
said
a very general thing, and it depends on not so much the person as it does the situation the person is in, and also their experience into that. Does that make sense?
well, last thing when you cut off, you said in the time, like the time frame of, and then it cut off.
That was, yeah, that's kind of where that statement ended. It was an open thought, and it probably looked like I froze, but I was saying exactly that is I think it's the time frame. Like all of these things are factors that go into one another that helps you decide, right? Your decision. If you're gonna make a decision, it's either yes or no, or continue to wait, right? If the time frame makes you uncomfortable, then maybe it's, I don't know. I say Dude, I've been battling this one all week, right? Because like I said, it's so subjective, but at the same time, it's like at the same time, if the decision's that hard to make, maybe it wasn't your time or your decision to even make that choice, right? Like certain things come into our lives uh, for reasons, right? We could agree probably that either A, you're ready for it, or B, you're not ready for it, right? We could kind of chop it down, chalk it up to be that simple. If you were to simplify this, that's where my brain would go a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that even depends on maturity and everything else, like you were saying too, the time of life. So I agree with that as well.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I knew this was probably something intimate for you, and I don't know what's going on because we haven't even talked about this. But you know, it's like I think I said it like a couple days ago from Jordan Peterson. It's like if things are hard, if the path's hard, if your decision's hard, Tyler, it's probably because you have the wrong goal, dude. You have the wrong goal. You have the wrong motivation. Because like once you have this goal, it's like that's like the orienting system. Like everything you look at and everything you feel and everything you're choosing and choosing from and the emotions from the choices and all that, they're all set from that goal. So if you're having trouble choosing something right now, you're probably aiming at the wrong thing, buddy. That's what Jordan Peterson says. So I don't know what's going on.
No, nothing personal with me at all. I got those few words in that from a personality type kind of video,
Yeah.
and the video had nothing to do with me. I just like being a sponge and absorbing as much as possible. So it was just that. And then it had to go with personality types and stuff like that. And then they were like, oh, there's doers and there's don'ters kind of thing. I don't know. It was crazy. But that's pretty much out of that video. From what I remember, the only thing that I kept. But yeah, I think we chalked it up pretty well. No, nothing to do with me personally at all, though. Like, everything in my life is mint right now. I can't complain.
Is there a difference between thinking and praying? Now, what I mean by that is one, in some sense, like they're all done in the head. In some sense, you can pray out loud, but
Yep.
it's still in the head.
Right.
And then thinking is like from here to here, as all things are in life, right? I'm here, I want to go here. The thought is this thought's here, and then the thought's going there to here.
Mm.
And then praying is that too, in some sense, right? It's like, all
Right.
right, this and then that. So is there any difference? Was there any difference between thinking and praying?
I know that they're both concentrated focus. I can start with that, right? So what are we doing when we're praying? We're focusing on intentions, outcomes, things like that. I agree with you as well. Thinking, put building blocks, all of this, brainstorming and all that. You're doing the same thing. You're trying to get from one location to the other. And they can both end up in the physical realm, right? And mm, I would say most of the time you're doing either one of these. It's to affect your personal life, right? And get you into a position or a place or a state of life or being that you prefer to be in versus where you are right now. So either way, yeah, I think they're both constructive in their own ways. One is more faith-based and the other one's more personal based. We all think, right? Give yourself credit or not. We all think, but we don't all pray. So that's kind of where my brain goes with that thought and gets kind of gray, if that makes sense.
I mean, I didn't have so much of a formed opinion about this, but it's interesting because when you were speaking, I almost wanted to like play devil's advocate when you said a lot of people think, but not a lot of people pray. I mean, what's the difference?
As far as differences go, is that what we're looking for? We're looking for the opposites of these two things. I
Well,
don't.
you already said people. A lot of people think, and a lot of people don't pray. So I'm imagining you have ammo for why that is, or not for why that is, but why thinking isn't praying. Because in some sense, isn't it? In some sense, like when you're praying, you're talking to God, right?
Right.
In some sense, it's in the head. In some sense,
Agreed.
and not the only, but and then the next biggest aspect of praying is faith.
Right.
And then if you parallel that to thinking, it's like, all right, it's in the head. I'm talking to someone, right? They probably don't think they're talking to God,
Right.
but
Right.
they're talking to someone, whoever whoever or whatever.
With an intention.
And the craziest part is there's faith that we'll get an answer. There's faith when you're thinking. There's faith. Like, all right, an answer's gonna come from it's gonna come from somewhere.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I guess they kind of do go hand in hand, huh? I mean, if you're looking for an answer, an outcome, a change, right? You rely on yourself for all of the same things, and here in the physical realm of things you can control. And when you pray, you're trying to contact with the divine and all the things that are out of your control, at least presumably, right?
Well, here's where I'll push back. And we were talking about this a couple episodes ago, and I don't think you were bagging it on the same page that I was bagging it, but like so much of us, and you kind of said it too, so much of us think that when we're thinking, it's like a one-person thing, or it's like that these answers are coming from us. If they came from us, then why do we have to ask? Like, if we already had something, why do we have to ask or think about it or ask if we already have it? My argument right now is, because you just mentioned the divine, and when you're praying to the divine, right?
Right.
Are you not thinking to the divine? Because where the heck does the answer come from, dude? You can't. How can you say it comes from you when you didn't have it before you asked it, right?
Then,
like right now, like you don't have something right now, but you're thinking of it, so you can't say it came from you if you never had it, right? You're thinking right now, you don't have it. You're looking, you're thinking.
yeah, thinking, and
do you have what you're thinking about right now?
I don't know what path my brain wants to go. Like
no, that's not it.
I have.
That's not the question. Whatever you're thinking about right now, do you currently have it?
No.
So, where does it come from?
The divine, baby. God, tell me right in my ear.
I mean, that all I'm trying to say here, and not to, twist your arm with this, but it's like, in some sense, isn't it kind of wrong? Because we all do. We all think that it comes from ourselves, but in some sense, can that possibly be wrong?
It could be. Like I said, is God whispering in my ear to tell you the correct answer? And then also, as I always say, the truth isn't hard to find. So if it's the right answer and you can agree on it, and it doesn't take, you don't have to go around your elbow to get to your wrist to get the answer, and it's easily agreeable, I would say that would make it a fact, right? But the fact is, so based off what you're saying, I'm thinking that none of these thoughts are ever really ours.
Just like right now, like I have to find what it is that I'm thinking about. Like, if I had to go find something, that means it's like not mine, or it's lost, or something. It's not.
Yeah, you gotta find it. It's lost, right? If it's misplaced. So I agree.
Isn't that crazy to think, huh?
But I'm trying to figure out a way how I can loop this back to like education, the way we know we learn, right? And then retainable knowledge, and then there's all these different forms of knowledge too, right? Like the way that it comes to you. I can't remember what it's called right now.
Well, I mean, as of yet, no, because now what we're talking about is consciousness, and right, no one's been able to explain that yet, and they probably will never be able to. But in some sense, I don't know. It seems like praying and thinking. Like, I actually heard recently that they think maybe thinking, the ability to be able to think, came because like prayer came first, and then thinking is kind of like what I'm trying to say or heard, which is like I was like, what? How does that make sense?
I don't know, but I guess it must, right? Because well, you had to. I don't know.
I know it's crazy.
It's like the chicken or the egg theory with consciousness, right? Like
Exactly.
because you
Exactly.
have to be conscious to know where to look to find an answer, right? And if your idea is, oh, if I pray to something that I don't even know why I'm praying to it, right? Because I'm thinking, we're talking way long ago, right? Like probably before religion and all that was formed in the world as we know it today, of course. But knowing where to look to find an answer that you're looking for, sitting down underneath of a tree on a nice breezy day and meditating to yourself, thinking to yourself, or praying to yourself, whatever you want to call it, right? The answers are going to come to you somehow, some way. And like you said, we don't know where they come from. And it's not always a conversation like you and I have where it's bouncing an idea off each other and then we are using the building blocks as we go forward. So they're doing it all on their own, still an idea on where it began, which is so crazy still. So I
Well,
agree.
well, something you just said actually kind of hit home for me of why understanding why we all think it's ourselves that are coming up with this. Because like you said, you need to know where to look. So of course, like through this development of like starting from no words to thinking, praying, whatever, and like I said, trying to find out where to look for it. Of course, it makes sense that we would say that we're just finding it in ourselves. Like it would seem crazy to say, "Oh, like I found it from God," or I'm praying right now, or it comes from the freaking cosmos. Like, of course, you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, it's just me thinking. It comes from me."
Why? Because that's socially more acceptable or
Exactly. Yep. I'm glad you're bagging me. Yeah, because like you said, what triggered that thought was you said you need to know where to look. So, in our own like egoic mind, right? You would consider yourself crazy if you thought, oh well, I'm gonna go ask God now. Like I'm gonna go outside and look at the stars and ask God, where's my turkey sandwich? Of course you're gonna say, oh yeah, I need to know where my turkey sandwich is. I'm just gonna ask myself. I'm just gonna think about it. Like the cope. That's how we like coped with it. You know what I mean?
yeah, you have a way to digest it easier. And so then that way you don't sound like a lunatic to everybody that's like, oh, I prayed about it for 4 days and then finally this answer came to me and here's what we're gonna do.
Well,
Right?
more importantly, so you don't sound crazy to yourself.
Oh, okay. You think it's a self-approval aspect?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know what? I heard something amazing like 2 days ago. The only difference between us and like our ancestors is that they prayed more. I think that's what they said. Is that they prayed more.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that today. Yep, yep.
Beautiful. I thought that was so beautiful. And like, man, like, oh man, wouldn't it be so nice to live back in the day? I've been thinking that a lot lately now.
Yeah, dude. Heck yeah. That's why I still dress like I lived back in the day, man. People don't even talk to me the same.
Yeah, I
But I
bet.
was gonna say, remember the last thing I said? I said, oh, it's so we can digest it better, or how did I word that just then?
Well, you
Yeah,
said like use like society things so we don't sound crazy to everybody else.
yeah, sure. But there was one more sentence I said just after that. I don't know what it was, but it brought my brain immediately to ego, right? So if it is God or the divine or whatever that gives us the ability to think, grab these sentences and these words and build them like building blocks and all that, and then why we turn around and claim it as our own, and I worked so hard on this, and not giving any shout outs to the divine for it at all, it would just be ego, buddy. I think it would be the lack of humility, too much pride. You want to get credit for something and not pass off where the credit's really due to the person that or thing that gives you the ability to do that at all anyway, right? Any of that. Think, grow, create, anything, all of it.
I
Motivate,
mean,
anything.
obviously you're right in some sense. That's like everything's right and wrong at the same time. I've been like starting to understand that more too because like in some sense especially with topics like this, like anytime religion and God and stuff's involved. But in some sense, we need an ego. Like, yeah, right. What you said, you mentioned too much, but without an ego, we couldn't be. So it's like, man, you know what I mean by that kind of, right?
Yeah, also without an ego, I don't think that we would be able to be what I think, let's see, how do I want to word this? A strong head of household, right? A moral man, right? With ego gives us the strength to believe in ourselves, to protect everyone in our
Exactly.
household and all this too, right? And the reason to protect those things, it comes from ego and pride. I work hard for this. I love these specific people, whatever it might be. But I agree. I mean, it comes with ego, and you need that. You need the sense of pride. You need the ego,
Exactly.
but you need to know how to balance it with humility. You really do. And if you don't know how to do that, then you're definitely going to end down a track of, well, I guess on an extreme scale would be, I think we call it tyranny.
With what?
If you have too much pride and ego and you're full of yourself very much and you can have people to follow you, then it'll eventually go down the track of tyranny, would it not? Is that where kings and queens are, kind of thing, and everybody follows you and your only say, the state versus religion?
Yeah, I mean,
Let me know if I'm saying it wrong. I think it's called tyranny, but
well,
I
no,
don't.
you're talking about tyranny. The only thing I was debating about in my own head was if that was the cause of it. But no, you're definitely defining tyranny for sure.
Yeah, and where does it start from? It starts from, you know, the rejection of humility, right? Like, I'm king in here, and whoever disagrees, I'll cut them down and put their head on a stake, right?
Yeah,
And if everybody else agrees, yeah, go king, right? And then boom, then they follow you, and yeah, you just keep your violent iron fist ways and carry on and do whatever you want. But that's what forms it. But that's why we had in our society now, a lot of us have to balance humility with ego and pride. But as soon as you start yelling at somebody at the gas station and then you start popping off, then you struck a nerve with them. Obviously, you hurt their pride, the ego got that
yeah,
niche or whatever. The way someone else in public or even in their personal car views them now is different because you went up and said something crazy. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta balance the humility with the ego and pride because or else it would just be chaos all the time.
I agree. Well said. All right, I got another one. I have some pretty good questions today
Yeah, pop off.
because this one seems like it's a clear answer, but you can make sides for both, buddy. Is it? The question
And we will.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Is it possible to really know what someone else wants?
No way. Dude, you don't even
See?
know what people's pure intentions are at all. What do you mean know what they want? People don't even know what they want. Dude, which route do you want to go down with this? Because we could hit at least 3 different topics, and I want you to repeat it again.
See? So, exactly, right? It's so like knee jerk reaction to say no and be right. Or you could say, hey, Isaiah, do you want a turkey sandwich today? Yes. And then you really knew what I wanted. I really wanted a turkey sandwich. I told you. Now you know. Maybe you handed me one. And you were right. You really did know what I want. So it's like two sides. It's like yes and yes, right? But no and no. It's crazy.
I definitely agree, and I agree with that. Can you say your question again, please? I want to nail it over here.
All right, there you go. You're back. Now I'm gonna say the question, and you just go off whatever you think. Is it possible to really know what someone else wants?
Yeah, I don't know, man. My immediate answer is still no because, like I said, their intentions, their goals, and all these things are debatable and subject to change. That's why my because as soon as they say they want something, isn't your perspective on wanting it different once you have it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people might not like this person I'm going to mention, but I think that he really does make a lot of really good points. But Andrew Tate kind of said that. He was like, once you have all of the money in the world, the yachts, the boats, the whatever, cars, mansions, freaking relationship partners, or whatever you want, right? Once you have all those things, you find out eventually like that's not enough, right? And you want to control people or something, it can get really demonic really fast when you have a large plethora of resources. I'll say just the word resources, right? Um, so no, that's why I also don't think that people even know what they want. I think that if more people lived on lower vibrations, well, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to word this wrong. Higher vibrations, right? So humility, divine, let's let a problem arise and then solve it immediately, right? Hopefully with the least amount of drama or chaos, we would call it. What we are all really missing is exactly that, the ability to cohabitate with each other and it truly be peaceful. We don't have to lock our houses or cars or nothing, right? No one's intention would be ill towards the other person because no one would want more of anything, right? They're not going to break into your car and steal a lighter because they don't need that, right? So I think nobody really knows what they want because once we have everything and can obtain anything in this world, that isn't what you wanted after all. So that's why my answer is no. And that's my real deep dive into it. But I really want to hear what you got to think, say, whatever, and go.
Well, it's just interesting because thanks for sharing. I have to agree with you. That's why this question was actually interesting because it's like, it's literally, you can make an argument for both and be right in both. And because, or like even like a child, right? If a child says, hey, I really want to go to McDonald's tonight, and then you bring them to McDonald's, you're gonna like, can you make the argument that like, hey, I knew what they wanted, because look, now they're happy or whatever. So it's just crazy because it's like that saying from one of the Stoics where it's like everything has two handles. Like one you can grab the jar from, and a handle where you can't grab it from. So it's like everything has everything. Go for it.
Did we ever go into the conversation here of, oh yeah, dude, this was like episode 3 or 4, but if we can dive back into it, I would love to. Production is way better now. But you were saying about exactly that, the handle thing in the past, and you were like, you can handle the situation or you can handle the situation. And I think I nailed it back then too. And I wish we could like, I don't know, edit and clip that in here because I was a fire one, bro.
Yeah, it's just crazy because it's like, and actually Hermes Trismegistus said it too, that like everything is like, he said like everything is like yes and no at the same time. And
everything's 50-50, dude. It has to be, right? That's why free will and all that is even 50-50 even with that, right? Like, I don't know. But that's why I also think that God mode and living on God mode, what I call it, is knowing how to play a little bit of both, right? I don't know. Just me. Dark psychology. But carry on, because you're popping off still.
No, that was it. It's just like this is like a irreconcilable answer or question because like people could just say yes for both and both make points and both be right. And now it makes you think like, is everything like that? Is every freaking question like that on Earth?
Yeah, that's why I know a few episodes ago you were like, yeah, I hate it that people say things are subjective or whatever, but isn't it? Like everything is, and it's perspective. Oh, perspective is what it was.
Yeah.
Not so much subjective, but perspective, right? Because I say that word a lot. I'm like, well, it's all about perspective, but that's a Libra in me. I'm like, yeah, I could put myself in their shoes, or I could put myself in different shoes, right? So I don't know. That's why I don't know. I know it's even a cop out to be like, oh, that's your sign, you know, but I don't know. That's just life is too easy sometimes, man.
I mean, it's fair to say that's why I don't really resonate with it so much because it's like too fair. It's like you said, it's like the copping way out or whatever. It's like, because you could say that about everything and then there'd be no reason to talk about anything because you could just say that everyone could say, hey, how you doing? It's subjective. Like, hey, yeah, I'm subjective. Like everything.
Oh, dude, yeah, I know that would be so annoying. No way. I think that's definitely a cop out. If you're using it that way and you're not willing to actually have a conversation, that's a cop out, buddy. And that's not even a real human. I don't think. I think that's a freaking, what do they call those, like EPC or some shit. I don't know. I don't like them at all. When people are just like they're super dismissive and they're not willing to actually think, it's either a them problem. No, that's got to be a them problem. Yeah, it's a them problem.
I mean, even with an answer like that, because most people don't troll with it like that, but like, oh yeah, it's all perspective, it's all, subjective. I mean, it's like if they go ahead and tell you what their perspective and stuff is, then it's fair, right? They're like, yeah, it's perspective, but here's my perspective. Then it's fair, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So are you saying giving that word as a one-word answer and then leaving it with a period and not building on top of it? We both agree, cop out. That's not a real person to talk to. But if they say, "Oh, my day is going pretty well. I know I just crashed my car, but it's still going to be a positive day. It's all just perspective." Dude, that's commendable. Heck yeah, you just totaled your car and you're still going to go on and have a good day. That's fire. That's what it's supposed to be. And yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of how my brain works with it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, you're saying the why first, and then the why it's perspective, or what your perspective is. But yeah, let's just, like I said, most people, I think, I don't know if they do it like that. But here's my next question, and it seems obvious too, but it's like, do we act differently when no one is watching? And everyone says yeah, but like, do we? So do we, T?
I think about this often by myself. Hold up. I had to hit the mute button on the microphone, but I think about this all the time because I reflect on myself a lot, right? And whenever I'm around, I'm just like big chilling on the couch, watching TV. I'm like, a lot of people do this. I don't know. I think about it often. Do we all act, dude? I might be a freaking robot or whatever they call it, one of those NPCs, a non-playable character, because my life really is as simple as talking like this with friends and loved ones, or yeah, just sitting on the couch or going to work and worrying about taking care of business. Honestly, so well, this is maybe where I could throw in the nasty freaking secret of the government right here, because as we all know that the files just got released, that dude was definitely acting a lot different around people versus not around people. So as you said, you were like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna jump all over the yes part of this question. Like, of course, yeah, we all act different around ourselves being alone versus others. I really think, and I know you're gonna hate this answer, but that's subjective. It depends on who that person is, buddy. It's their true intentions, their shadow or shade, whoever they are on the inside, whatever it is that they hide away from the light of others, right? The normalcy of the world, things like that. That is what we want to see. They're going to show us what they want us to see. And other than that, so yeah, I mean, it really depends on the person. It depends on them, their motives, what they're motivated by, what it's like, all kinds of stuff. Who knows?
It's funny because I didn't even realize this, but this question is the same as the other question, as in this has two handles too, because you could say, because obviously you're right in what you said, and that knee-jerk reaction to say yes is accurate, but you could also say, well, no, because if it's them and they're the same person and they're acting this way or that way, it's still them acting the same because they're the same, the same person type of thing, It's like if I act this way when no one's around and then I act this way with you, it's like, yeah, I'm still acting the same. I'm me. Like I'm me acting like it's me. Of course I'm acting the same. It's me.
Yeah.
I'm not a new person. I'm just me. Yeah. So I just meant like I'm not even making that argument so much, but it's just like it's like the same as that other question. It's like both handles could be grabbed from because in some sense both are true or right, true, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yep, I know. Everything in life, man, it's really got to be 50-50. And then it's like who you are deep inside your heart, or whatever you want to call your soul or something. I think that really determines which side of this 50-50 part of life you really land on, right? I mean, there's got to be a reason why the Libra scale is a scale, right?
Well, it's interesting because like modernity is crazy, man. Because like let's say everything's is truly like this, right? Which seems like we're both coming to that realization. Everything has two handles. And it's like back in the day, it'd be like violence. Be like, all right, like you say that, I say this, like we're gonna get violent to solve it, right? And now that like all that's gone and all the traditions and all the things that used to be are gone, it's like, and then obviously religion going away. It's like, man, like the future, and like now we're trying to like recreate our own like way to grab, like to dispute over handles, and like it's like everyone's just grabbing a handle, and like everyone's trying to play their own new game about it.
Yep. And then once they grab that handle, their ego and pride is going to double down on that, even if it kills them. Even if it kills them, buddy.
Well, you know what they say now? They say that like when those handles disputes, like they try to use like whatever, like moral superiority in them, like, oh, like, you know, whatever, we're good people because we're grabbing this handle, you're bad people because you're grabbing that handle. Like that's the play now.
Like I said, dude, they grab one and then they double down, even if it kills them. Yeah. Everybody does it too. Like, hey, but let me, because I agree with that, of course. I definitely agree with that. Everybody grabs a handle and they double down on it. Would you rather grab the handle that's leaning more towards I look at the glass as half empty, or I look at the glass as half full? Would you rather be on the negative side of perspective or the positive side of this perspective in life, right? And then what would you rather double down and die on a hill with, right? Personally, you guys know me. You know where I'm going, baby.
That's a good question. I am gonna choose the optimistic side. If I gotta grab a handle and die either way, I might as well do it optimistically at least.
Heck yeah, dude. You ready for my last statement? I only got one more. You got more questions?
Yeah, I'll go again.
Yeah, let it rip, baby.
Why do people follow rules even when they don't agree with them?
Is it a fear of repercussions?
I don't know.
I think it would probably have to be. You said, what did he follow? Yeah. Well,
Plato said, and I thought this was Nietzsche who said that. This was actually Plato, but he said, and I've said it before, but basically, like, all morality is just people too scared to do what they want, or something like that. Which is basically what you said, but it's not that. But that is what you said. Consequence.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the consequences that holds them back. So if
That's not true.
If it isn't the consequence that they're afraid of that's holding them back from, are we talking about your true desires, or like if an injustice happening and we sit
back? That's the question again. Why do people follow rules even when they don't agree with them?
Must be, yeah, based off of fear. I just think it has to be afraid of the repercussions. I think it's a fear thing. Like you're motivated by fear, as most people are. Not you, but I'm just saying the person, like this question, right?
It's interesting because this is in some sense the glass half full, half empty analogy in some abstract way. And you just made an argument for the half empty. But I think you can answer this question also in a half full type of way. As in, right, the question was, why do people follow rules even when they don't agree with them? You went pessimistic. So not optimistic. You went pessimistic using negatives. But there's an optimistic way to answer it too, which is interesting.
Because these rules were set in place to keep us safe. Even if we don't agree with them, it still keeps us safe, right?
It's a good way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
That's my optimistic brain. I mean, I wasn't trying to go negative with it earlier, but if you say that, then I was like, well, then the positive way would be looking at it to see what is the benefit of this rule for you, even if you disagree with it. Well, how does it affect me? Well, I guess it means I'm a little more safe, even though, whatever, right? Maybe.
Yeah. No, I won't even get on a soapbox here, but yeah, it's I've actually kind of learned kind of a lot from this episode, to be honest.
Heck yeah. Our episode or something else you're watching?
No, this episode, yeah. I've never noticed how freaking Yeah, there's a bunch of things I haven't noticed actually, but all right, yeah, you got another thing to go, right? Fire away, Chief.
Heck yeah. All right. So my last statement, just tell me what you think. I heard it. I heard it somewhere. And they said silence exposes weakness. And let's see what you think about that. Do you think that silence exposes weakness?
Absolutely, and I think in many different ways. Absolutely. So, one, if we talk about like an interpersonal relationship, so people to people, absolutely, yeah. People, if you're not comfortable with silence and you're not feeling secure, you are going to fill that silence. Absolutely, yeah. But if you are secure, you'll just sit in silence, and then thinking like other ways too. Like even if it's not with other people, but like by yourself. If you're not comfortable being silent alone, then that's probably some sort of weakness that that person probably has. Doesn't have to be for sure, but probably. Those are my answers. What do you think?
Heck yeah. And heck yeah, I definitely agree. So I think that silence exposes weakness because silence breeds a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of humans have a real hard time with the uncertainties of life, right? Because
Absolutely.
then we start to think, and you can build on this, right?
Hold
If
up.
you
You just said something. We start to think. It's like, dude, isn't that some sense that's praying, dude? Now I'm really backing it. Like you're starting to think, you're starting to think, I'm starting to pray, I'm starting to pray. I really think they might be the same thing, but keep going. It's crazy though.
if you're thinking about the future, you're thinking about tomorrow, you're thinking about a specific event, right? I'm about to go pick up a new car, right? Let's say that. You already know what car it is and the color of it, everything. You already know everything about it. You're gonna go pick it up. And in your head, you're building onto what that experience is gonna be like before you get there, right? So we're thinking about it, or as you like to say, praying about it, right? We're praying about it, hopefully optimistically, thinking about it optimistically to where it's like, this is going to be the best thing ever. I can't wait to smell the new car smell, see the chrome shining and the fresh paint job, right? Nice and clean, all this. And that can also build anxiety because you can also think on the opposite side of that, the other 50-50 side is, what if I show up and they don't have the keys or the place is open or I need to get gas immediately, whatever it could be, right? There's a whole list of things that it could end up being as well. So that's why I think silence breeds that, because if you're excited about something, you think about it too much and then your brain could start to lean one way or the other and it could damage you, right? Silence, you can also be thinking about the past. Oh, I was in fifth grade and I said this thing to this girl and I felt like a bother. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
then that's where depression is formed. You're living in yesterday, things you can't correct. You still feel like an idiot and it's been 30 years, you know?
Yeah.
So there's all these things, and all of that happens inside of silence. And the only way to get past all of those uncertainties, negative thoughts, and stuff like that is to occupy that space in your head with the silence with positive thoughts, positive inputs, positive outputs, all of this, right? Like you say, praying, thinking positively, optimistically, or just daydreaming about a better tomorrow than a present today. And yeah, I think not a lot of people can control their thoughts and their brain that much. A lot of people can. I'm not saying this is freaking astronaut type of mentality. It's just a lot of people don't. You talk to people and it's hard to find someone that's actually having a really good day. They're positive enough to where they can open the door for you and actually, give you a genuine you're welcome and like, hey, yeah, welcome inside. Like, let's go get after it. Like a few weeks ago, you said that you had held the door open for somebody, and they were like really thankful, and you were like, wow, they were saying some weird stuff,
Sure.
but it's so rare that that happens. And it's like on the other end of that spectrum too, when people don't respond positively to your positive outputs onto, um, let's call it the public, right? When you're out and about in society, whatever, when you're not getting those positive feedbacks in return of what you're putting out, then it's like, well, this is really weird, right? Because that's not natural. That's just, it's different, unexpected, and that's why it would be weird. You could call it funny too, because it's outside of the box of what you would think would happen, right?
Nice. Damn, you're
Yeah.
freaking big listening.
Yeah, so there's all of that. So yeah, no, but back to original topic at hand. Silence breeds weakness. Weakness is exposed in silence. That's why I think separation of people, it breeds and works into a negative outcome of things. You know, people don't know how to communicate with each other properly, formulate their own words and sentences, think for themselves. There's all kinds of bad stuff. If you don't know how to do these things, nothing but negative will come out. So, yep.
You actually made me think of another question real quick, and I'm going to put it on you because you're freaking, what is the word? Freaking pontificating or whatever I freaking meant this afternoon. So, what'd you say? Oh, yeah. Do you think people like intrinsically, like subconsciously know that silence like breeds weakness or whatever? Or do you think they just were able to learn that still probably subconsciously just through experience? Because like, right, people don't want to be in people already know like, I don't want to be in silence, or I don't want to have to do all this, thinking in silence all alone and all this stuff. Do you think they know that deep down, or do you think they've just done it every once in a while and then they got to realize, yeah, I don't like that?
So the only place that I can kind of help with this a little bit, it's in the Bible, buddy. Man is not created to be alone. And I think that might be in Proverbs, but I think that man is not supposed to be alone because God or the divine, the creator, the one, he knew that we were going to be a social creature. He knew that we are all naturally curious. And he also knew that with those few things, with the ability to think for ourselves, learn, and grow, it's uncomfortable for us to do anything that isn't those things. And it should be uncomfortable. That's where solitude and solitary confinement and all these things that we know as a species, yes, obviously, we're social creatures. And if I can separate one from the others, eventually they'll break down, right? We must have known this. And that's why it's one of the biggest punishments, right? By world leaders right now. Where do you go if you can't act correctly in society, right? You go to solitary confinement, basically. And if not, then you put amongst everyone else that can't properly perform in society as we do. So if you go there, prison, jail, whatever, this punishment, whatever, and you still can't get along with those people correctly, properly in society, yeah, we separate you even more, right? You're different, you're going to be chastised and, kicked out of here and everything. So yeah, I think that we knew that. I think that it had to have been biblical. I don't know if any of, maybe you would know this. I don't know if any of the philosophers really spoke about that too much. I would like to lean in and say, I think that a strong philosopher would kind of lean in and embrace the idea of being alone, right? More thought for self, more time to meditate. Maybe you have more insight, but I'll hit pause on me.
Well, it's interesting because, like, the Bible's not even that old, man. It always blows my mind sometimes. But I just found this out not
That's
too
why
long.
I'm choking up on it. I'm like, I don't know if I can claim this right now. That's weird.
What's crazy, dude? I just found this out not too long ago, and you'll probably be pretty shocked too. But I guess Socrates actually wasn't ordered to die. He was actually ordered to be exiled, believe it or not. And he actually voluntarily chose death.
Just to confirm, exiled means just leave the kingdom, right? Like go someplace else in the world. Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah,
They
they just
didn't.
asked him to leave and be a black sheep. Get out of here.
Yep, and he said he chose death. They didn't want to kill him. He chose it.
Low key. Well, I don't know. I'm super opinionated. You tell me which one is more noble, choosing what he chose, or going forward with the exile and just never come back. What do you think is more noble?
We definitely know what. Well, I shouldn't say definitely because no one knows what.
Everything's 50-50, baby.
Well, the reason why we shouldn't say definitely is because no one knows obviously what happens to us when we die. But I'm still going to use definite for a placeholder. We definitely know which one is harder,
Sheesh. Heck yeah, we do.
which is
But
what?
death.
Exile.
Exile is more difficult?
Why do you think people freaking choose suicide, buddy? Do you know why people choose suicide? I'm not saying because it's easy, but usually what they say.
No, actually, I don't know. I thought that death was going to be, well, I look at it as death society. Like,
Well, hold up first.
okay,
They
yeah.
choose suicide because they just want it all to end. That's what they usually say.
They want
I want it all to end. As in, this is hard. This sucks. I just want this to be over with. This sucks. This is hard. I want it all to end.
All right.
Living's way harder than dying, and with what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
So him choosing death was way easier than choosing exile.
It's super interesting. I was thinking that, yeah, I don't know. Because
If life was the easier choice, then why do people kill themselves?
yeah, I know. No,
Yeah,
I
if
definitely
life
agree
was
with that.
easier.
I'm not trying to formulate an argument against that
Uh,
because I do agree, right? The struggle of continuing, the struggle of living
Yeah.
tomorrow, going on, freaking people in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, which is like, oh, I'm never gonna see the end of this, right? Like, I get it. I definitely understand that too.
well, that's not real problems.
Well, I'm just it's perspective, right? People can feel like they're drowning in life, like, oh, I can't do anything, right? They feel trapped and stuck, like they can't get past a certain plethora, right? So
That's all first world problems.
as it should be, which is why it isn't a real issue. It's not a real
Yeah,
issue.
being in debt's not real world problems, buddy.
No, I agree with that. But that is one reason why people will definitely take their own life, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you're probably right. Yeah.
Heck yeah, I know I'm right. I automatically know that. People with a lot of money at their disposal, they still end up dead. So it's just so crazy. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I still don't know. How old was you said Socrates? How old was he when he was exiled?
He was old, and they didn't get exiled. They told him to leave, and he basically chose death. But I don't know how old he was. I think he was like 55, 60, something like that.
Yeah. Still a super interesting way to go because 50s or even 60s, like for back then, I don't think that was really that old, right? I mean, weren't people living for a while back then?
And it's interesting because while he was locked up in jail, his friends were offering to like, hey, dude, we can get you out of here. Like his friends were rich. They're like, dude, we can get you out of here. And he was like, nah. Just I don't know. It's interesting. But
super interesting.
I always said that because exile's been around for a long time. And it's weird to say that because you made the argument that we know it deep down. And in some sense, it's weird to try to like talk about like how humans know things deep down. I have an idea that we'll save for another time, but isn't that weird, right? Knowing things deep down.
Yeah, it must be a feeling, which only lasts 10 seconds. So I don't know.
We know what else is interesting is that when you say deep down in this sense, it's like kind of like a positive thing. But typically when you think down or deep down or low, you think negatively. So it's weird that we would say deep down in a positive sense. Like when would we ever say that about anything?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you too. I'm trying to think. Like maybe, yeah. How would I'm trying to think as well.
And then Carl Jung, he says modern man doesn't find God because he doesn't look low enough. It's like I don't know. Like now I'm just thinking like, but we say
You
deep
got to
down.
be humble, right? You got to think low enough. You got to be. I think he means that from a humility state.
I agree. I just brought it up because he's using the low and the deep down in a positive sense in the same way that this is. So I wonder if it's like connected or whatever. I don't know.
connected or polar opposites, 50-50 of the opposite sides of the different scales, right?
Well, then that means he'd be using it negatively, which I don't think he means it negatively. Well, maybe he does actually. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. You gotta like experience the worst tragedies on earth, as in what he meant by low enough to see God. So I guess he could have meant it in a polar opposite way too. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, right. Because being low in life or going through low trials and tribulations, right, would humble you, right? Don't they always say like God has a funny way of humbling people or something like that?
Absolutely. Say that again.
They always said Amber says herself that she's always like, yeah, God has a real funny way of showing it or something like that. So she's like, oh, he must have a sense of humor or something. I don't know. There was an episode of Jordan Peterson I was just listening to as well, and yeah, they came to agree that God's definitely sad when people aren't acting properly or following him properly and things like that. So they were like, oh, well, how would this being have these emotions? And they're like, well, if he created us and we obtain all these emotions, how in the world would we get these emotions that he wouldn't feel? Right. So I don't know. I think there's that. That's why that brought me in the mindset of he must have a funny sense of humor. Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't say he has one and then not the other.
Yeah, it's funny that's what you listen to, because I heard like basically the same thing yesterday, and what I heard today was really good. As in, like, obviously, like when we play a game, it requires like certain rules that we have to play or that we have to do to be playing the game. Like we have to agree to these rules to play, or we can't play the game. And it's interesting. Well, it's interesting because like that's kind of how life is too. Like there's some things in life that if we want to be alive, like we have to do, which are like rules in some sense. And then it's like they were saying like, well, if this is a game, or if life is a game, or if we're playing in a thing that's like rules with games, and it's only a game because we agree to it, then there must be like something at the top. Like if there's rules, then there must be like, whatever, a hierarchy of rules. And they're just making arguments for God, man. That's some good stuff, man. You gotta love it.
Heck yeah. Ah, dude, there was something. Oh, in order to play the game, you have to agree upon the rules, or how did you word that?
Yeah, basically, yeah. If you're gonna play a game, you have to agree to the rules for it to be even called a game. Like I think that's all a game. A game. The definition of I think what a game is just two people voluntarily agreeing to rules together. There's a set of rules and there's a set of rules. We both voluntarily agree to follow them. Hey, we're playing a game now.
So, okay, you and I, we both live in America, and
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any viewers across the world. Maybe not yet, but we're getting there. But how would that change with, we call it a game and playing games, rules, and all this stuff? How would those change based on the state? We keep talking about religion and stuff like that, but as far as the state goes, there are rules and stuff like that. 48 laws of power, right? That's what I'm referring to as a state. Referring back to the book 48 Laws of Power, and yeah, how in the world
I
would
know
that
where you're
be?
going with this. And
Yeah, if you can help me here, then let me know, because
that's such the interesting thing about humans, man. It really doesn't make sense because and what you're doing now is like, and obviously I do it too. I'm going to talk about modernity, but like that's the problem with modern people, man. It's like what we want to do, all of us, is like whatever, like logically articulate, our stance or our ideas or blah blah blah. But the reality is like, dude, everything is embodied, it's enacted, it's embedded into us. And here's what I mean by that. I'm not dodging your question. It's like, dude, right now we're playing a freaking game. Right now, we're playing a game. I don't talk over you. You don't talk over me. We make eye contact in some sense. Everything's a game. And like I said, that's not That's not rules that have been written down, that we've agreed upon, that we've even come up with on our own. Even it's like, dude, you walk into a room with someone or people, you're playing a game right there. Hey, rule one, we don't freaking start eating each other's freaking faces off. Like, there's rules everywhere. Everywhere, dude. Like, you said in the state, right?
Yeah, you cut out a little bit at the last part. You were saying that we follow rules going into rooms and everywhere. But yeah, you cut off right about there about just about eating people's faces off. But I definitely agree. Either rules that are communicated directly, right? Or rules that are just not communicated, but we follow others, the way they act and things like that, right? Like the movies, back to the Gerard episode, the Roddy Legend episode. And we watch movies to find out how to act and things like that. But in those movies, we don't see like the script actually says, and actors walk into a room and a fight breaks out, right? No, they just show us that action, right? They walk into the room, loud music in the club, and then a brawl breaks out, right? So it's not even always communicated. It's just visualized and followed. Like, oh, that's how they're acting here. It's a biker bar. They're all acting like, roll up your sleeves, act tough. Don't, pan face everybody and don't even look at them too long. Kind of thing. That's the unspoken rule. And we agree if we're going to be in here to keep it like that, we're going to do this, right?
Exactly. In some sense, the argument I'm also making is I don't think any of it can be like agreed upon with words. It's like, I just heard this today where it's like when you like teach a child like how to shake someone's hands, like you're not teaching them how to touch hands, right? You're teaching them how to like how far you stand apart from them, like all the stuff that is inevitable that I can't put into
the
words.
Fundamentals that you don't just understand by seeing it, right? It's the fundamentals of keep this in mind. If you shake their hand, use the right hand, and posture.
No, actually, no. I'm actually making in some sense the complete. I agree with you in some sense, like, but I'm making the complete opposite argument. Is that everything you're teaching them can't be said in words, and even in teaching them how to do a handshake.
Okay, so we are replicating mainly their actions, and life could be a silent movie, and we would all still cohabit firmly and be fine, even without words. You think? If we were all if we were all deaf, right, and we could only see, I wonder if everybody in the world was deaf. We never knew about words. Like,
well, that's where I got to stop you, because the reason why I'm saying this is because, other than coming from some sort of knowledge, but where I'm getting at with this is like our nervous system is like all have been like conditioned and evolved because of words where we're at now. So like, see, what I'm saying is two things. If there were no words in the beginning and never were any, our nervous systems would have adapted to that and they'd be completely different. And then if their words were just going now, I would probably say no, it wouldn't go great until our nervous system adapted. Because most of what I'm talking about is like nervous system stuff, dude. Like it's so weird. That's why like this emotion is deep, man. Like Jordan Peterson talks about a lot how like what emotion does is it's like the constraints and like the boxes on a frame. It's like showing you how to act, right? It's like what we always say, right? There's nothing more important to a human than knowing how to act, specifically to get somewhere, but just in general. What do I do? How do I act? That's the most important thing to us. And I would say in some sense, maybe even more than God. But the reason why we love God is because God tells us and shows us and teaches us how to act.
Yeah, yep.
But emotion is just the walls on that. It's like those little kid bowling alleys where the little bumper cars go up or the little bumper sides go up. That's what emotion is. It's like, whoa, you're going too far. You got to go back over there. Oh, back over there. And it's just keeping us in this little box frame where we can start exploring and and watching other people how to act too.
Would you say so? You said I love your analogy of the bowling alley, right? We're gonna keep the ball inside the frame of these two extremes, right? Would we call it rationality and irrationality?
Mm, as no, I don't think so. No, I would say more of no. Actually not. It's a good question, but no, it's actually a simple answer. It's in simple sense, it's just happiness and not happiness or whatever. Because it's so simple because happiness and not happy, whatever the heck you want to call that one, are all related to the motivation, to the goal.
Right. Okay.
So it's like the closer you like, because right, the bowling lane, the pins are the goal,
Right.
and well, actually, no. I guess it wouldn't be that. In this analogy, no, it wouldn't be that because the happiness would just be the wood floor of the lane. One side of the bumper would be like
I
anxiety.
think, yeah, I think both of the sides would be chaos, right? In
Yeah.
some sense,
Yep.
chaos either way.
Yep.
The goal is at the end of the pin.
Yep.
The ball is you.
Yep.
And the more goal oriented you are, you're going to stay away from the sides, right? Because we understand the sides would be chaos. The goal is the pin, and you being neutral in the center, headed straight to the goal, staying far away from either one of these sides would be best.
Yeah, it would be best, but it's not possible, right? It's not possible.
Yeah, it's more like Mario Karts and you got banana peels all over the floor.
Well, yeah, the reason why it's not possible is because of the goal, and it's, I mean, that's already self-explanatory. But the other messed up part is like it's like is a couple using this analogy. The bigger the goal, the bigger the negative emotions on the sides of them, or you could say the smaller the lane, right?
Right.
The more likely it is that you're gonna freaking hit one of these negative emotions because it's such a big goal. It's like
Right.
it's equal to the negative emotions are equal to how big the goal is.
Right. So the negative side effects are pretty balanced based off of what the end goal could also look like.
Yeah, it's like if you have a tiny goal at the end of the bowling lane, dude, you're bowling down a highway, right? You're bowling down a highway, brother. You don't got to worry about nothing.
Yeah,
It's a little mini goal anyways. Who cares if I hit it or not? I don't need no freaking, you know what I mean? I'm freaking shooting into the ocean. Pissing into the ocean, they say.
Yeah, right. Holy smokes.
So yeah, dude, emotions are great. And then to tie it all back together, it's like these games that we're playing is so embodied in our bodies using emotion that like modernity now wants to like scrap all of that and act like it's our big brains, dude. They just want to act like it's our big brains, like, and like, because you brought up the state, like, oh, like if this is true, like how did the state, like, dude, it's those little mini games of people that make up a state. It's like it's not like it's like the state and then these written out rules with logic and paper, and then we can go play them. No, it's the opposite. It's people with people playing games not talked about that makes up the state itself. It's like bottom up, not top down. You get that?
Yeah, it's a huge pyramid, and either way, we're freaking getting scraps, kid. We have no
dude,
idea what the next thing is.
no. I just made a super comprehensive for the argument. Here, listen again, real quick. It's not the state making rules on paper with logic that we follow. That's not what's happened. That's not what happens, and that's not what's happening. Well, it's kind of more happening now, but that's not how we got here.
That I agree with.
That's
That's
not.
how it's happening now, but that's not how we got here.
It's kind of how it's happening now, but kind of sort of. Well, no, it's not. No, where's the state in this conversation, buddy? No, we're playing a game right now, buddy, and there's no state here. We're playing a
Yeah,
game
it
right
is. I'll
now.
say here. Yeah, right.
But
That's true
do you
too.
kind of see, do you kind of see how we're still playing a game here?
Yeah, yep.
There's like little rules of this game that we're doing now that we're following that we didn't talk about. So
Right. Still formulating a conversation, trying to get to an end goal that which we could both agree upon. But yeah, everything is a game, and it's just about, like you said. I mean, it starts with how to react and act to each other. The way we even take it in and reply is because we're still working. We're working towards a goal.
well, I've been doing a lot of growth lately, as in like, because right, goal was my huge buzzword, man. It was my huge buzzword. But in some sense, I've been kind of thinking that there's maybe something equally as important as the goal itself. And that's these constraints, buddy. That's these rules. That's these boundaries. That's these little things, dude. We don't have to get into it now, but I've been thinking goal, motivated. We're humans, goals. We need goals, motivation, blah blah blah. But I don't know, in some real sense, metaphysically, you can't have goals without some sort of rules or constraints or borders or edges or whatever. It's interesting, man. We'll have to talk about that another time.
Exactly. No, I would love to definitely dive into that more. Like you said, on a later episode where we have more time. I know we're already at an hour and something right now. Thank you, everybody. If everybody's still watching, I mean, we're kind of getting into it here, but